Okay, so let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to tackle a question that feels like pure sci-fi, but it's getting more real every day. What would we actually do in a perfect world, a future where work is a thing of the past? And to guide us through this maze, we're going to be looking at some really mind-bending ideas from the philosopher Nick Bostrom. So to get started, let's actually go way back in time. This quote, it's from descriptions of a mythical, medieval land of plenty called Cockaigne. I mean, this was a peasant's wildest dream, a place with absolutely no work, and get this, roasted pigs just wander around with knives in their backs ready to be carved. It's utopia at its most basic, just endless stuff. But here's where it gets kind of wild. When you actually compare that medieval fantasy to our world today, you realize that for a lot of us, Cockaigne is already here. We've got food delivered to our door 24/7. Automation is getting rid of all that backbreaking work. We live and work in buildings with perfect temperatures. We've basically achieved the dream, haven't we? So, fantastic, problem solved. All our basic needs are covered. But does that mean we're all good? Well, not so fast. It turns out that when you solve the problem of survival, you might just unlock a much, much deeper one, the problem of purpose. This line from the movie The Third Man, it points to a really uncomfortable possibility. It suggests that all the things we try to avoid, struggle, chaos, even hardship, might be the very engine that drives us to do great things. So, could it be that a world of perfect peace and comfort actually makes us lazy and uninspired? And that really tees up the central dilemma, doesn't it? If we were all freed from the daily grind, what would we become? Would we create, or would we just fall apart? To really dig into this, Bostrom gives us this amazing, stark comparison between two guys who suddenly got handed immense wealth and total freedom. And this just lays out the two paths so perfectly. You've got Michelangelo on one side, who, despite being rich, lived like a monk and created art that has lasted for centuries. And on the other side, Michael Carroll, a lottery winner in the UK, who had about the same amount of money and blew it all on wild parties and crashing cars. And you want to know the craziest part? After he lost everything and went back to being a garbage man, he said he was happier. You see, this whole thing just forces you to stop and ask, what does a good life in utopia even look like? Maybe, just maybe, it's not about endless parties and having everything you want. Maybe it's something completely different. You know, we have this obsession with living an interesting life, one full of drama and highs and lows. But Bostrom just completely flips that idea on its head. He points out that a future that would make for a great, exciting story would probably be a terrible, awful place to actually live. Maybe a future that's a little bit boring could actually be a wonderful and peaceful place to be. So if the old drivers of meaning, work, struggle, achievement are gone, where do we find it? Well, Bostrom sketches out two big potential paths we could take. One is all about changing how we see the world, and the other, more radical path, is about changing who we are. Okay, so path number one, aesthetic contemplation. The idea here is actually pretty simple. It says that the quality of your experience isn't about the thing you're looking at, it's about how you look at it. With the right mindset, something as ordinary as a duck's beak could become a source of endless wonder. And you could even do this in two different ways. There's the extensive approach, where you let your mind wander and make connections. The yellow of the beak reminds you of a lemon, which makes you think of summer. You get the idea. Or you could take the intensive approach. Do the exact opposite. Hold your mind perfectly still and just become completely absorbed in the thing itself. Either way, you're creating meaning from within. All right, so that's one option. But this second path, this is where things get truly wild. This is a much more radical idea. What if, instead of trying to find new things that make us happy, we could just change what makes us happy? The term Bostrom uses for this is autopotency. And what it boils down to is this. With super advanced technology, you'd have total control over your own mind and body. You could literally rewrite your own desires, your abilities, your whole state of being. So what would that actually look like? Well, let's say you're bored. You could just reprogram your brain to find stamp collecting to be the most exhilarating activity in the universe. Or you could just decide to feel a constant state of pure bliss. You could even decide you'd rather be a lion for a while. It totally shatters our idea of what a self even is. Now, as incredible as all these personal questions are, this is the moment where Bostrom zooms out. And I mean way out. He argues that this question of what to do in utopia isn't just about us. It's about the entire future of consciousness itself, across the cosmos. Because what's really at stake here isn't just about a few billion humans trying not to get bored on Earth. The choices we make now about what kind of future to build, they could have consequences on a scale that is just astronomical. Okay, get ready for a number that's going to kind of break your brain. Using some pretty conservative math about future technology, Bostrom figures that we have enough resources in our cosmic neighborhood to support at least 10 to the power of 58 unique human lives, all living rich lives inside simulations. I just want you to take a second and look at that number. That's a 1 with 58 zeros after it. It's a number so vast, so completely outside our normal experience, that it's basically impossible for us to actually grasp what it means. So, to even try to wrap our heads around it, to give that number some kind of emotional meaning, Bostrom uses this absolutely stunning analogy. And it just changes everything, doesn't it? Our choices today aren't just for us. They carry a moral weight that could create literal oceans of joy or sorrow. And so that's where this all leads, to one final and kind of heavy question. The challenge of utopia isn't just about designing a perfect world for the people alive today. It's about being responsible stewards for a future that is unimaginably vast. It's about making sure that those oceans of consciousness are truly filled with tears of joy.